Here tonight to discuss this issue is Seton Motley, president of lessgovernment.org. Seton, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you here with us. Sarkozy versus the workers. You know, it really seems like
how very 1940s of you.
Well, you know, Sarkozy is taking the position, as his good friend George Bush did, of we're on the side of the billionaires. We're gonna try and jack up the revenue for, you know, cut taxes for the rich. And
I've never seen a poor person hire anybody.
You haven't?
No.
Actually, the first business that I started on using my unemployment check, and it grew to the point where we had 18 employees and was doing quite well. So I was
at that point you weren't poor anymore. Well, Charles Barkley had a great line. He said, "I have 14 people that work for me. I love every single one of them, but I'll fire every one of them before I get poor."
Yeah, well,
and the more you raise his taxes, the more people he lays off, and that's the reality.
No, that's not the reality.
And your very simple reality, your finite
here,
pie math on France is patently absurd and dramatically wrong.
No, the absolute reality here
is the older people keep working,
having money in their pockets is what drives economies.
No,
it's not rich people saying, "Gee, I think I'll hire somebody because I've got a little extra money." No person ever hires anybody just because they got extra money in their pocket.
A rich person buying a yacht.
Every time a business has extra money.
If you want to do a soliloquy, that's fine.
Go for it.
A rich person buying a yacht does more for a poor person than 1,000 government programs, and here's why.
Nonsense.
Because who sells the rich person the yacht? A poor person. Who drives the yacht to the lot to be sold? Another poor person. Who builds the yacht?
You're assuming
lots
that
of
rich
poor
people are spending all their money on yachts.
I'm saying if they spend their money on anything.
Let me finish the sentence. You got somebody like Stephen J. Hemsley, the CEO of United Healthcare, who for his first 5 years on the job took $477 million.
God bless
now, how do you spend $500,000 every working day of the year? How is it possible for anybody
to spend it?
He doesn't spend it. He invests it. He sends it overseas. We have $2.7 trillion of American money that is being invested in Swiss banks.
And you know where the investment goes? It goes to entrepreneurs who need the money as startup capital for their businesses.
It goes outside the United States.
You know why it goes outside the business? Because people like you have raised the tax rates on the capital gains and their dividend returns to the point where you've driven the capital outside the country.
So you are suggesting that somebody who earns their living sitting on their butt around the pool waiting for the dividend check to arrive should pay a lower income tax rate than somebody who actually works for a living?
I think they should pay the same. They get one vote, so does the other person. So it doesn't. Why should they pay more?
So you're opposed to Bush's 20% top tax rate for capital gains and dividends?
I'm for a much lower capital gains tax rate. Absolutely.
But wait a minute, that just contradicts what you just said.
No, what I said...
You said they should be the same. Right now, the capital gains top rate is 20%, and the top rate for people who work is 35%.
Right.
So...
I want to reduce 35 to 20.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely.
So
it's their money. It's not the government's money.
It absolutely is our money.
It's not our money.
Nobody creates money in this country.
How much of your work did I do today?
Damn sentence here. Nobody creates money in this country without the infrastructure provided by the fact that we have government courts in which we can enforce contracts. We have
and get sued by trial lawyers
and we have jails in which we can put, and you have courts that can throw out those frivolous laws. Nobody can do business without that infrastructure, that public infrastructure.
We don't need 35% worth of infrastructure. We can get by on less than 20% of infrastructure.
Yeah, let's just become Somalia.
I don't want. Somalia has zero infrastructure.
Somalia has substantial.
There's a lot of room between 35% and 0%. I'd like to get a lot closer to zero than we currently are at 35.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is,
20 is a lot. Did I not just say 20? 20 is a lot closer.
Offer free education, for example, and investment in infrastructure, the intellectual infrastructure. Those countries that provide health care. How can an entrepreneur start a business if they don't know that they can even have their own health care? I mean, there's
some of the greatest successes.
Fundamental structural stuff here.
Education and knowledge are often mutually exclusive. I don't want to rip it out.
You absolutely do.
I want to properly fund it at the size necessary for it to exist.
The size necessary for the billionaires to do what they're doing, and for entrepreneurs to say, well, I guess if I'm going to start a business, I'm going to have to go without health insurance. I'm going to have to go without any kind of retirement. I'm going to have to go with nothing and just step out on the edge.
It's not anybody's responsibility but their own.
It is.
How much of your work did I do today? How much of your work did I do today?
It is the societies. We share in common the infrastructure of our education, our schools, our roads, our fire departments.
How much of your work did I do today?
It's an irrelevant question.
No, it isn't.
How much of my work did you do today? It doesn't. Come on, Seton. This is.
Okay, if you, I did.
The fact of the matter is that
I'll readily admit I did zero zero of your work. If you were ready to admit that I have no right to your wallet.
You're saying the bottom line here is you're saying it doesn't matter how many people are in the labor pool. There's no market.
You grow the pie.
You just grow the pie.
You grow the pie.
Magic.
And keeping those people in the workforce.
This kind of magical thinking, this kind of Reaganomics supply side, let's give more to the rich people.
How's Keynes working for you? How's Keynes working for you the last 2 years?
It works just fine. All it has done is
It's worked just fine. Define works just fine. We just spent $1 trillion on stimulus, and they said it would cap it at 8% unemployment. We're now at 10. How's it working for you?
We spent about $600 billion on stimulus.
That's about $600 billion too many, isn't it?
No, it's not.
How many jobs?
It saved some jobs. It absolutely did. It saved about 2.5 million.
Barack Obama just today admitted there's no such thing as a shovel-ready job after we spent $600 billion on them.
Okay, Seton, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thom.
I just.